Making small hardware items is a great way to develop your skills as a blacksmith. You don't need a lot of specialized equipment, nor do you need expensive materials. This set of strap hinges for a tool chest are a good example of that, and this is what we're going to make today. For this set of hinges, I'm going to use 1/8 by 1 flat bar, starting with a piece 20 inches long, and this will do both halves of the hinges. Just gives me more material to hold on to initially. So that's roughly the same as 3mm by 21mm, 510 millimeters long, something like that. These hinges will be using a spade finial, and it's easier to go ahead and just lop the corners off of this with a shear now or cut it hot at the anvil with a Hardy than it is to try to draw that out to a point. Drawing something out that's 8 times wider than it is thick is mostly an exercise in trying to flatten it back down again, and it'll save you a lot of time to just get rid of those corners right from the start. With the longer strap mostly drawn out, I'll turn this around and start roughing in the finial on the other end, then draw out the shorter strap. After separating the long and short straps from each other, I'm going to grind a 45-degree bevel on the back side. This just makes the eye roll up much cleaner than if you leave it as a square cut. Cleaning up the bevels along the edge with the face side down on the anvil leaves a cleaner, crisper bevel than if you try to do it all with a hammer from the front side. These eyes start to get a lot easier if I'm doing a larger batch of hinges and I kind of fall into a rhythm. But if you're just doing a few, take as many heats as you need to get the eye clean and nice and round. You don't really want a lumpy, bumpy eye on your hinges. Now I like to file the edges and file bevels on these hinges. It gives them a much cleaner, more refined finish. I think that looks better on the tool chest. But you don't need to. If you like the forged finish, if you want something that's a little bit more rustic, you can skip this step and just go on to fitting the eyes. And of course, a filing vise is the ideal tool for doing the bevels. Now I do like to leave my file in contact with the work on the backstroke. I'm generally only applying cutting pressure on the forward stroke. But if you're worried about dulling your files extra fast because you're leaving it in contact on the backstroke as well as the forward stroke, I suggest you watch a video Fireball Tools did several years ago exploring that concept, and I was really surprised by his results, and I'll link that video up here. So personally, I'm not worried about it. Files are not as precious today as they were 200 years ago when you had to make that file last as long as possible because they were really expensive. Relatively speaking, files aren't that expensive, and most of us don't use a file all that much in the shop because we have grinders for doing the rough work. So if my file wears out 10% faster and I only use it for a year instead of a year and 2 months or something like that, I'm really not all that worried about it. That makes for a nice little set of strap hinges. A little short strap on one end, long strap on the other. And these are meant for a specific type of tool chest, what people refer to as a Dutch tool chest. And typically this short strap mounts to the outside of the back wall of the chest, but the long strap mounts to the inside of the lids. That means the show faces for the hinges, one is on this side, one is on that side, so they are opposites. And that means you have to roll the eye in the opposite direction on the short strap than you might normally. Unfortunately, when I did these short straps initially, I rolled it the proper direction, the way you normally would. So I ended up just making them over again, and now I've got a set of short straps, and I'm going to put them on a little back plate like this. I'm not going to show this video. We've looked at various hinges like this before. But it's just one way to recover from that mistake. And while this was a mistake or a flaw for this set of hinges, for a set this style, it's exactly what I want. So there's absolutely no reason not to use those spare parts. I will include color match screws. I prefer slotted head screws for hardware like this. I think it just looks better. But if you just can't stand slotted screws, you can use whatever it is you want for these. I do strip the plating off of the screws. They're regular zinc plated screws. I strip it off in a weak acid. Vinegar works well. Then I heat them up in the forge to a dull red, wax them just like I wax this, and they end up being a good color match for the straps, and they hardly show at all. Unfortunately, today at lunch, when these were just almost finished, I got an email from the customer pointing out that he would like a hammered finish on these hinges instead of the smooth finish I go for. This has some hammer marks, but I don't go out of my way to beat things up and leave intentional hammer marks, and the filing of the bevels and the edges makes them a little crisper and cleaner than it sounds like he wants. So I'm not going to beat this set of hinges up. This set will go on my website. It'll be for sale, and that's just another item to put on the website and help fund the shop and the videos here at Black Bear Forge. Then I'll make him a fresh set. Again, I'm not going to show a video of that. It looks exactly like this, except I will very lightly texture it with a round-faced hammer, or I don't know if I'll go to the extent of a ball peen hammer. That leaves a pretty dramatic texture here that in my eye looks kind of gratuitous and like fake forging or something like that. So I probably won't go to that extent, but I will put a light texture on with a rounding hammer or something of that sort. If you're enjoying the videos here at Black Bear Forge and would like to provide financial support to help make the videos possible, you can do that through channel memberships here on YouTube. Channel members receive early access to the videos, usually a day or two early, or you can use Patreon. Paid Patreon members not only receive the early access to the videos, but they also receive the videos ad-free because those videos are posted off of YouTube, and I can leave them ad-free over there on Patreon. And there are a few other little perks and benefits on Patreon, some additional posts from time to time. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, stay safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next one.